So it looks like you might not be the only ones concerned that this guardianship over Wendy Williams might be draining her once 8-figure income. According to Radar Online, it should be something that we should be concerned about. Not only that, the amount Wendy Williams was paid for the Lifetime Where Is Wendy Williams documentary is being revealed. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So as you know, we've been updating you and following this Wendy Williams story for a couple of years now. We recently recapped the 2-part documentary that she did for Lifetime. We also did a recent video updating you on some of the unsealed details of this lawsuit that the Guardianship brought against A&E Networks, the parent company of Lifetime. In those court documents, it was revealed the timeline of what the Guardianship knew from what they didn't know and what Will Selby, as the jeweler turned manager, knew at the time, and what they expected from this sort of rise to success, rise from the ashes documentary. So they're accusing Lifetime and the filmmakers of exploiting Wendy. That's rich. I know what you're thinking. Well, Radar's reporting, because a lot of people have been concerned, because the last video that we did, we were talking about a over $500,000 tax lien on Wendy's New York City apartment, the apartment that we saw in the documentary, the apartment that we saw that was emptied out once she went into this wellness facility. And a lot of us said, yes, this tax lien was before she was under the guardianship, but the fact that it's still not paid falls on the people in place, along with the guardian, that all these bills should be paid. Okay? All right, so let's get into what we have just found out. According to Radar Online, they write this: Wendy Williams had an 8-figure fortune stashed away in various Wells Fargo bank accounts before her assets were frozen, and she was placed under a care of court-appointed guardian, according to Radar Online. They said the 59-year-old former daytime talk show host had accumulated a treasure chest worth between $40 and $50 million, spread out in more than a dozen accounts held by the bank, according to a source. This is just really interesting that she had all of her money in this one bank. Not that it would have made much of a difference, but still. So they continue. They said it is unknown how much of the cash is left, since Wells Fargo successfully filed a petition in the New York Supreme Court to place Wendy in a temporary financial guardianship, claiming she was potentially a, quote, victim of undue influence and financial exploitation, only for her to go into a situation where people are suspecting exploitation. So the insider told Radar Online that Wendy's life is now controlled by a slew of lawyers, court evaluators, and specialists who are all chipping away at her fortune. And the reason why I think this article is important, I know some people are like, well, you guys are speculating. The Guardian was, along with a few other attorneys, were sued a few years ago for $30 million for pursuing a baseless guardianship over a man that had won $5.5 million, and he didn't need a guardianship. So this is why people are concerned. This is why people are spreading the hashtag Free Wendy Williams. So the insider told Radar Online that Wendy's life is now controlled, as you know, under a slew of lawyers, court evaluators, and specialists who have to be paid via Wendy's fortune. All right. So they said you have now 5 attorneys who Wendy did not select, who Wendy has nothing to do with, that are all getting paid out of Wendy's finances. We have to keep in mind, which is another important detail that we found out from this documentary, is that Wendy's family, her sister Wanda says in the documentary, I was asked if I wanted to be the guardian. I said, what is a guardian? And they said you would have to take a class to understand what you would need to do. And she's like, fine, anything to help my sister. Only for the door to be shut on Wanda. She didn't hear anything else about it. Only for the family not to have direct contact with their sister, with their aunt, with their mother. All their contact with Wendy is if Wendy calls them. However, Will Selby, Sean Zanotti, all of them had contact with Wendy without, they knew exactly where Wendy was. They knew how to get in contact with her, but her family doesn't. Strange? Yes. So Wendy's private life and struggles recently exploded in the national spotlight, as you recall, when the court-appointed guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, filed a lawsuit to prevent the airing of a disturbing Lifetime documentary, Where is Wendy Williams? The documentary shamelessly showed the beloved star in the confusing throes of dementia. As you also know, in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, the filmmaker said that when they initially pursued this documentary, they had no idea of her dementia diagnosis. If they had known, they would have not filmed Wendy Williams. So even though Morrissey was in financial control of Wendy's life, she questioned the validity of the $400,000 contract the media mogul allegedly signed with Lifetime's parent company, A&E Networks LLC. So this is where we found out how much Wendy was paid. So there have been a lot of people saying she was only paid $400,000 for this documentary. According to Sabrina Morrissey in this unsealed document, she had no idea when this contract was signed. It was signed under another company called the Wendy Williams Experience. We have no idea who exactly formed this company in Wendy's name. Did she form it with Will Selby? Well, I will just point you to the documentary where he talks about opening up account for her, a separate bank account, one that she has access to versus the Wells Fargo account that she does not have access to. I wonder if Sabrina Morrissey, her guardian, knew about that. So they said Wendy allegedly signed the 18-page contract in early 2023, shortly before she was diagnosed with primary progressive aphasia and frontotemporal dementia, the crippling ailment that ended the film career of action hero Bruce Willis. Morrissey claimed the Gossip Queen didn't know what she was signing and would not have wanted the world to see her disoriented, under the influence, and in an obviously disabled state, according to the court documents. This can be true. But what also can be true is that it revealed you, Sabrina, as someone that should not be overseeing Wendy's guardianship. So I think twofold can happen here. Of course, Sabrina Morrissey, who is an attorney, will go to the court and say, well, Wendy she was not in the right state of mind to sign off on this contract. And we will agree with that. But I think what you really wanted to fight from the world finding out was the fact that the family has been alienated from Wendy's life and overall when it comes to her finance and her health. All right. So they continue. They said LaShawn Thomas, who worked as Wendy's lawyer from 2017 until she was kicked to the curb by a New York judge, has repeatedly questioned the actions of Wells Fargo and the judicial system surrounding the embattled star with money-sucking attorneys and lackeys. It should be noted, I just want to point this out. I don't know this for a fact. However, this is what the streets have been saying. LaShawn apparently was also connected to Kelvin Hunter. So a lot of people are saying there was a level of conflict of interest. However, LaShawn also posted on social media video footage of Wendy when she was in Florida with little Kevin, and she was doing fairly well in comparison to how she was doing when she was in New York City. So they continue. They said, I find it curious that the court-appointed guardian keeps her family away from Wendy, LaShawn Thomas told Radar Online, referring to the documentary. But then Morrissey also allows a manager and publicist to be around her, so they are getting paid money from Wendy's accounts. The insider also raised questions over Wendy being hit with a $568,000 federal tax lien, which we reported on last week. There's a tax lien on Wendy's property, so what the heck is the guardian doing, according to the insider? Where is the accountant, and why aren't they doing their job? In the past, Wells Fargo has repeatedly denied all allegations of wrongdoing, claiming the financial well-being of our clients is at the heart of everything we do. Morrissey did not respond to our request for comment. However, in court documents filed to prevent the documentary from airing, as you may recall, she admitted being blindsided by the show and its shameless portrayal of Wendy. Although the Wendy Experience Incorporated was formed after my appointment as temporary guardian, I did not authorize and was not involved in its creation, and I did not learn of the contract until many months later. So I'm just wondering the timeline of this. You found out about the contract many months later. You knew that this was filmed. So why didn't you get to see this before it was actually released? She continues, I had previously made clear that no such release would be authorized without approval of any finished product by me and by the court in the guardianship proceeding. I don't understand why you would even allow time to move forward with this. Of course, she's claiming that they thought this documentary was going to be something different. If you knew the state of the person and you knew that this person that you are overseeing signed a contract for $400,000, why wouldn't you put a kibosh on this from the jump? Why wouldn't you put a kibosh on this from the moment you found out about this contract and the moment you found out about this documentary? I'm just playing devil's advocate here because it doesn't make complete sense, because now all of a sudden the week it's supposed to be released, now you want to file a lawsuit to stop it because potentially it's going to expose you. Maybe, maybe not. But a lot of you have expressed real concern about Wendy Williams' money because now this money is under the control of a guardianship. And when we outlined that previous lawsuit that was brought against Sabrina Morrissey and other attorneys, it clearly, we talked about how this man's $5.5 million had been chipped away by the millions. I think by the end of it, don't quote me on this, but go watch that previous video. But I think by the end of it, there was only like $1 million left of what he won in that lawsuit. Guys, as always, I want to know your reaction to the possibility that this guardianship is draining Wendy Williams' multi-million-dollar legacy. That really is not for you, Kelvin Hunter, but for Wendy Williams' only son, Kevin Hunter Jr. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.
You bring the lighter.